Mr. Crossell. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Missy.
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job.
Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize, I've already rented—
Wait, isn't Smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for— In return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me to Miss—
Guaranteed genuine? With 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false? Yes.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we—
In that case, might you know where Miss Chow lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpin.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we—
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossell. We'll be off now.
What's the hurry?
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me.
How do you do, Miss Chow? We understand from Mr. My associates and I are very—
The hairpins. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value— My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since we now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around. So we've been having to purchase— A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to make— That's what the hairpins were for, but now that I've lost the hairpins—
Wow. Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of deja vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I have—
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Miss Chow.
Huh? Well, I mean, sure.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she can help Chow somehow. True. Though surely there might—
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the— Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount— And given the rarity of Smaragdus jadeite, I fear that the final amount—
Even higher? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Chow looks like she—
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine—
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding—
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to—
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossell in the dark any longer.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. So hold on a moment, Miss Chow. When you first touched the hairpins—
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gems— My family has seen much jade pass through its hands.
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things. Let's head over—
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins?
About that.
You lost them? Are you serious?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Truly, I am.
Mora! Do you have any idea what I had to go through? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. It was in fact genuine smaragdus jadeite inlaid into the hairpin.
Of course! Genuine article guaranteed, or I...
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by...
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hair?
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Miss Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk.
Welcome to the Northland Bank.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you...
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may...
What do you mean? Are you
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. I don't know if Granny told you this, but smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains if mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. And Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins...
No, not at all.
Now that is strange. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have this...
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now.
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. And then he'd throw the smaragdus jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are so...
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with...
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to please...
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied on.
I understand. Then I will be...
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay, and I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a...
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract.
I've had a read through. Everything...
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case...
Miss Yanfei, I have to ask, why are you helping...
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some smaragdus jadeite myself. I know whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter, but either way, also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... I've got it. Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of... If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Let me tell you how.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Well, surely not more spurious claims that...
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnayan merchant named Krosel enlisted your ore processing?
A Snezhnayan merchant... I do remember that. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought.
Do you have any
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so...
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's...
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus...
Is that so? What? So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao is able to...
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my time. These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but and I'm sure a significant difference in the cost of...
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr.
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these...
What should I try this
Try
time?
luck betting on Jade?
Miss Yanfei? Might I...
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Krosel did indeed claim that the ore he brought...
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing...
Of course.
Oh, I have my reasons. Yes. Please sign... This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the...
Yes, I see.
I wouldn't say there's been an incident. Just a minor issue. Thank you, sir.
With this hard evidence to back us up...
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Aha! Got it! Singxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith.
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contract, but the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite...
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you...
Yes, well, that's no obstacle, because I've memorized all the legal
You...
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's... Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like...
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go...
What's the hurry?
Oh, Miss Yanfei, it's you. Has something happened?
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. Has a merchant by the name of Krosel asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Krosel. Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snick. The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, this order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed...
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Singxi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Krosel commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to...
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so Mr. Krosel wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself. The item is called Smaragdus Jadeite. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the...
Thank you, Sinxi. No,
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway.
nothing you need to worry about. Just a minor issue. I'll return your
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to Boo Boo Farm.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands.
What's the hurry?
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our... And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well. Now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings...
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're...
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some in... The Seven Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountain. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall... Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to...
That is indeed the case. If you would be so...
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only... But after I gave him my reply, I wonder, Miss Yenfei, if your pressing business might be...
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document.
You're too kind.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation?
Yes, my investigation is indeed
Wonderful. Well then, please.
Of course. Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus Jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, miss, I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus Jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore in...
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus Jadeite and Smaragdus. In any case, Smaragdus Nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite. So I had him cut away the Nephrite. He returned the valuable Jadeite.
That's an unsubstantiated...
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated.
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like...
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him, Traveler.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on...
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting...
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hair...
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my...
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one traveler. Would you do the honors? This shall...
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period with Mr. Crossell. Were you aware of these peculiar...
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to... I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but however... I'm sure that the ministry will be relatively lenient considering that... Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here... I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew?
Huh? No, I...
Aren't actually inlaid with genuine Smaragdus jadeite. You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Mr. Crossell. Your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
Yep, he's seriously intimidating right now. It's like she's a different person.
I admit it. I confess. But I'm a victim in all of this too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring... But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be... That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite. I kept the real Smaragdus jadeite and especially... I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off, Jiqiao lost the hairpins after I rented...
Exactly! If they weren't the real...
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with...
10 times.
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will...
20%? That's as much as I spent on...
There's no need. Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them.
Ms. Jiqiao...
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite, why don't...
What? But all right, then.
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn this Smaragdus...
Well, that's not quite how the rules say...
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei. When you have the time, I'll...
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I'm...
Well
then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no...
Is that...
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk... I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the orbit. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores, I think we...
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over, even though the solution...
The right solution depends on your perspective. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, proving that the rented item was nowhere near worth what the vendor had claimed it to be, what an adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle. Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy far more?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a...
You can't beat the atmosphere here and the...
you've returned. How did... Good, good.
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Gotta...
Oh, you. All right, then.
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the business. I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law...
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no wish to leave...
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly... Indeed she is. Liu Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the... Liu is not the same... All right, then. Let us speak of this no more.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it?
It is but a single teapot. It's... There we go. Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them if you...
Wait a minute, Granny! How exactly...
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged...
Stay mindful of your personal safety. This is a peaceful neighborhood.
Come on, let's get moving. We're not frozen in place after all.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame P... Huh. But there's just a whole load of nothing around it. Paimon can't do that! Well, you're the one with the sword still. Why is it so Oh, wait a second. What is that?
Well, it seems that we have a visitor.
It's a huge finch!
Excuse me, I am not. Hang on a moment. Oh, call me. I suppose you make...
So you're the little helper, Madame Ping?
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean you may leave all matters regarding the upkeep of this realm. Your journey may be far from over. But at least this way, though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, they generally do not have the time. Thus, we teapot spirits were created to help. You may consider me a butler. If now, allow me to explain this realm to you. Have you any blueprints on you? Specifically, blueprints. As long as you have a blueprint, you can
Blueprints? Oh, that's right! Granny handed us some when
Yes, these are the blueprints I'm talking about. Just commit the image of the objects to memory and prepare then simply release the thought from your mind and the object in the blueprint shall appear.
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside.
I doubt it. A golden-eyed adeptus, he said that even though subspace creation is a product of adeptal power, this world is not a true one, after all. It provides merely a moment of brief respite from the...
A golden-eyed adeptus?
I hardly remember myself. What's more, I have never... Well, let's not dwell on that. Have a look around. Best you get if there's anything you would like to...
Seems all the other knights already have their hands full. Come on, let's get moving. We're not frozen in place after all. Seems all the other knights already have their hands full.
Maybe you're not used to the place at the moment, but once you've materialized enough rooms and if you ever have any questions...
I didn't know you were such a slacker.